All right, well, let's take a look. And how are you guys doing? Data camp's working okay? More or less, I think. Let me just check. I think most of you got the invitation and have signed up. If you might have to check, like, I don't know, your promotions or updates folder or whatever might be going on. Some of you, a handful of you, have completed your homework assignments, which is, if I come to assignments, let's see. Okay, 14, so, but that's also me included, so like a dozen of you have completed. It's due Wednesday evening, so you still have a little bit of time to work on it. This the first one with Git should only take a couple hours. I don't know. Maybe some of you, maybe a little bit longer than that, but it shouldn't be too terrible, and it should be good. I didn't put this as a homework assignment, but I want you guys to create a GitHub account and try setting up a repository, and I want you guys to kind of play around with it. And so today I was going to just kind of demonstrate like how some of this stuff works, because as useful as DataCamp is, I think there's a difference between like typing in the commands on DataCamp and then actually modifying files yourself and seeing how those changes get tracked and updated and whatnot. And you should try things and see if the behavior is what you expect, or if it's different, or things like that. Okay, so today I would like to further talk about Git, and then we'll get into I guess some stuff. So let's see. 131. So this is week 1, Monday, and we're talking Git. Right here. Hang on, I gotta fix my pen properties. Okay, and the idea is here, let me pull up. Let's go back. Go to Git Basics. So this is just the kind of the Git repository, how changes are recorded in Git. Let me just kind of throw this in the notes. It says the life cycle of the status of your files. Oh geez, that's like really small. Here we go. Okay. So, when you first create a file, right? So this is in your work directory, you kind of create a file, and this is assuming you've got a repository set up. When you first create a file, it's going to show up as being untracked, okay? And Git is not monitoring this file. And so what you have to do is you first add the file, and then it becomes staged. And if you then immediately commit it, then it becomes it gets there. We have a snapshot created in our repository. Okay, and so we can always reverse things in our repository to go back to a certain snapshot. Whenever you type in commit, git commit, you are creating a snapshot of your repository, and it shows basically kind of what all the files look like that are being tracked, and it's there. Okay. So once you commit it, then it becomes unmodified in the status of the repository. And then if you make any changes to the file, right, and you save the changes, those changes have been done locally, okay, but they haven't been committed to the repository. So those files show up as being modified. Okay, so if you edit the file, it will show up as being modified. And if you want to commit those changes, if you want to create a new snapshot with those changes, you have to stage those changes and then you commit them. Okay, and so generally you kind of exist in this thing of unmodified, modified, staged, and then you commit them and it goes back to the unmodified. Okay, if for whatever reason you want to stop tracking a file, you can remove the file from being tracked in the Git repository. Okay, or you can put a certain class of files or particular files in the .git ignore. .git ignore is a file that tells Git, don't worry about these files. I don't want these to be tracked. Okay, here let me see if I can just if you want to really get into Git from the official Git website, okay, you can download this book called Pro Git, and you can get the PDF or the Kindle version or EPUB of it for free. And this is like super in depth. We're not going to get that in depth. We're just going to really cover the basics, maybe a tiny bit of branching, because I think maybe that's all you need at this level. Okay, so but I want you guys to kind of get used to this idea of all of this, and then and so this is on your local repository. Okay, everything that Git does is done locally. Okay, and that keeps everything fast on your local machine. And then if you want to, if you're collaborating with other people and you want to things on a server, then you synchronize, you push the changes in your repository onto the kind of the repository on the server. All right, so let me just kind of demonstrate. I'm going to go in this folder called Playground, and I created this little PowerPoint file, but let me actually create a new document, and this will be my Git ignore. And just tell Git to ignore this, and then I don't know, am I allowed to rename this? I don't think in Windows I'm allowed to just call this .git ignore. Yeah, it's gonna tell me it's no good. So I think I have to rename this in Bash. Okay, so actually I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. So I'm gonna open up Git Bash here, and I already have a repository set up. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you want to try to do the same thing I'm doing on my computer, just create a directory and then open that directory in terminal or git bash or something, and then you can just type in git init and it will set up a repository. So the command would be git init, right? So to kind of set up a repository. I already have one set up here. Okay, you can create new full files by typing touch. Touch is a command to just kind of create a new thing, and so I'm going to just create touch git ignore, and this creates a file here. Okay, and our Windows doesn't complain that that it's got a bad file name. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to call this. I'm going to put in my PowerPoint file, just so it doesn't do things. Okay, and so this is kind of in the PowerPoint. It just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create these files, file 1 and file 2, and I'm going to put in just put in some basic text. Okay, and then we'll commit these to our repository. Okay, so I can kind of ask git status. It's complaining that I've got. All right, I guess I should add git ignore. Git add dot git ignore. Okay, we're going to add this to be committed, and then we'll commit the changes with git commit, and I'll say added the git ignore file. Okay, so this is now there. All right, and so you know, whenever you edit work on a file in Windows or in Office, it creates like temporary files. This might not be an issue for you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just create 2 new files. I'm going to just do new text document, or you can just do touch. I'll call this file1.txt. All right, and then do I have nano? I don't know. File1.txt. Okay, so I do have an editor. Okay, nano is like a simple text editor. So I'm going to just create my list here. 1 is apple, 2 is ball, and 3 is cat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Control O to write this out. Yeah, that's the file I want, and then I'm going to exit this. Right. So I can just kind of list off the contents of my directory. All right, and we can see file1.txt is there. If you want to see the contents of a file, you can, within bash, you can cat the file onto the screen. So it's kind of like the cat command in R. You just say cat file1.txt, and it spits out the contents of the file onto the screen. Okay, and this is what we want. Okay, if I go to git status, it's going to say these are untracked files. Okay, so it's going to say file 1 is untracked. All right, and that's fine. So let me also go, and I'm going to do touch to create a new file, file2.txt. All right, and so if I list the contents of my directory, I have, you know, file 1, file 2. My PowerPoint, I should probably just move my PowerPoint to another thing. And I've got like just some other junk in there, okay? But really, we're just looking at file 1 and file 2. If I ask for git status, it will now show that file 1 and file 2 are untracked. Okay. Here, you know what? Let me get rid of this PowerPoint thing and move it to an entirely other directory so it doesn't keep showing up in my untracked files. So git status just has file 1 and file 2. These are untracked, okay? And right now, file 2 is empty. If I say cat file2.txt onto the screen, it's empty. So let's go ahead and edit that. I can use nano, or, I mean, it works with just whatever you're doing. So I normally edit my files in Notepad. So I'm going to go to Notepad++, and I will go ahead and do this in. So I'm just typing in some names, Amy, Betty, and Candace. Okay, so this is the contents of file 2. All right. And now if I cat file 2 onto the screen here, it shows up, okay? So anyway, we've got 2 little text documents here. and if I ask for git status, these are untracked, okay? So I can add each of these files individually. I can say add file 1. I can add them both, or I can add everything. So I'll just do 1, okay? It says, it gives me a little warning because these are Windows machines. All right, that's fine. So we're going to add that, and then we'll go ahead and commit that. Okay, we're going to say added created file1.txt. Okay, so we do git add the name of the file, file1.txt. Then we're going to commit that to our repository. Okay. All right, so if I ask for git status, what will it show now?
Untracked files for file 2.
Yeah, it'll show file 2 will be untracked, but everything else is okay. All right. We can check the git log and see what we've done. Oh, this has other stuff, but okay. So at the top it shows kind of my 2 most recent commits. So these are the only commits that you've been aware of. I was playing around with this on my computer earlier. So I got created file 1 and added git ignore file. Okay, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay, to get out of the log, you have to type in you just type in Q to quit out of the log. Okay, so because you might be like, how do I get out of here? How do I get back to the thing? You hit Q to it to quit. Okay, so git log will show kind of all of these things. Each of these commits are identified by a hash. Okay, so I'm not sure if are you guys familiar with file hashing? It's the idea of a lot of times. So this was a way to kind of check the integrity of a file. It's a checksum, and so I think like if you go to RStudio to download something, this is an example of where they list off checksums. So you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you. Okay, so here you get these Md5 checksums. And this is basically a way for you to check to make sure that the file you downloaded is the file you're supposed to get. In that, because it used to be, generally downloads are pretty reliable, but it used to be, sometimes something, especially back in like the analog days, the computer would actually listen to like what sounded like static, but it was actually like bits being encoded in like a regular phone, and the computer would listen to that, and if it heard something wrong, it might download the wrong information. So anyway, you have these checksums, and these are just hashed out, and if you change like 1 bit, it changes the hash entirely. So anyway, this is the commits are always identified by these things. All right, so I've added file 1. If we want to add the other one, I can do git add file2.txt, and if I check git status, it will say these are the changes that are ready to be committed. So I can say git commit m, and then we'll say added file2.txt. All right, and there it goes. Git status will show that everything is good. Everything's been committed. Nothing to commit. Working on a tree clean. Okay, and I can check git log, and we can see in our most recent commits we added file 2, created file 1, added git ignore. All right, let's go ahead and quit out of that. Okay, let's see what just happens. Okay, so if I come here and then I say like let's add dog. Okay, but then if I quit and it says save the file and I say no, then the file hasn't actually changed, right? The file, so if I check git status, it's going to say nothing has changed, okay? But here I'm going to actually modify this file. I'm going to add, we're going to add dog, okay? And I'm going to hit save, okay? And so this file has now been saved. So if I exit out and I open it up, that changes there. I've added dog, and if I check git status, it's going to say we've modified file1, okay? And these changes are not staged for commit, okay? They've changed, so now we're in the kind of this state. We're in the modified state. We've edited the file, but they're not staged, okay? Those changes are not staged, okay? We can ask, all right, what's the difference? What happened? What changes were made, okay? You can ask Git Diff, and it will tell you this is the difference, okay? There is, you know, kind of where you are. You're currently, you got file1 and file1, that's the change there, and we've added one line here, okay? We've added this line, dog, okay? You can ask specifically if there's any differences for file1.txt, and it will basically show the same thing here. Git diff file1, okay? It says that's what we've done. If I ask what are the differences to file2, there's no differences there because I haven't modified file2 from what has changed. Okay, let's come here, and under file2, I'm going to replace Betty with Bertha. Okay, so I've changed that entry, and I'm saving it. All right. So if I ask Git the status now, it's going to say we've modified both file1 and file2. Both of those files have been changed. Okay. And if I ask Git diff just regular, it's going to say, okay, look at this. File1 has changed. We've added dog. File2 has changed, and you get a minus here. And this says you've removed the line with Betty, and plus you've added a line with Bertha. Okay? It doesn't. It kind of checks. It lists off changes line by line. Okay? So even if I just changed one character, it's not going to say like you changed one character here and you added one here. It's going to say you took out this line, you replaced this line with this line. Okay? So it does kind of line by line changes. Okay? And again, Git diff, you can do file-specific changes. You can just say like what changed in file2 and things like that, right? So we can add both of these changes. I can do add -a, and this will. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll add all the changes. Okay. Git add -A is going to do all the changes, okay, and so I can ask for Git status, and now it says we're going to do the file1 and file2. These are changes that are ready to be committed. Okay. If for whatever reason I'm like, you know what, I only want to stage one change at a time. I only want to stage the change for file1 and file2. We can use, you know, it gives you hints here. You can do Git Reset, right? So I can actually just reset, and it's going to unstage these changes. And if I ask for Git status, it's going to say these are modified, but their changes aren't ready, right? So basically, reset just takes me back from the staged back to modified. It's going to say these changes have been modified, but we want to go back, right? So you can do, so let me go ahead and add these. So add these again. So we're going to add both of these things. I'll check status. All right, we'll go ahead and commit these. Okay, so simple changes to both file1 and file2. Okay, it's good to keep these things. All right, and we can check the log, and we can see these changes have been made. All right. Okay. So if I check what's in file2, oops, file2.txt, it's got Amy, Bertha, and Candace. Right. And let's say I want to go back, and I say, you know what? I need to go back, and I need to get the file that has Betty's name in it. Okay. How do we go back and do that? So it's not a branch. So far, we haven't created any branches, but we have to go back to a previous commit. Okay? So So, because if I type in git branch, there's only one. I'm on the master branch, but I have to check out kind of an older version. Okay, so I can do git checkout, and you can type in the name of the commit. So if we want to go back to this one, you can check the log and type in this commit name, and you can just type in like the what is it? 801A96F. I think you can also just do head. Oh dear. No, hang on, I'm a little scared. See, I always. Okay, so you can check the status, stage the modified files, ignoring files. Let's see. Viewing your staged and unstaged changes, committing your changes, skipping the staging area, removing files. Let me just I want to just say git checkout, but I'm a little bit nervous what I'm going to do. Okay, I think you can type in checkout head ~1 to go back to the previous commit. And all right, so it says head is now here. Added file 2. If you want to create a new branch to retain, you may do so by using -b. Oh shoot, I'm in a detached head state. Okay. All right, so it tells me I'm here at 801A96F, which if I check the log, we're back at this time where I've added file 2. So I don't know. So I've basically checked out this. I think it's the equivalent of checking out a past, okay, a past version. Okay, so anyway, I just want to show that by checking it out, if I open up the file 2, it has gone back to Betty. It's gone to the previous version of the file, right? Okay, so I've checked out the old version of the file, and this was before we made the changes where we added dog and changed the thing to Bertha, okay? And so at this point, we can, you know, say, all right, you know what? I actually want, I want to, you know, keep these changes here. So let me, what did I do? So now my head has been detached. So the idea of the head, okay, is that when you head refers to kind of the current state that you are working on, and so basically what I have going on in my diagram is that you know, we started off and we've got like, I'm going to call this C1 for commit 1, and commit 1 was what were these things? Oh, it's going to be created file 1, right? So C1, our first commit, we're going to just start where we created file 1, okay? So this is a commit, and then we went along and we created another commit, and in that commit I added file 2. And as we go along and we add files, or make commits, okay, initially, you know, we have the head pointing here, and then as soon as we make this commit, the head gets cut, and you know, the head travels along with the commits, okay? And then so after the second commit, I believe we did, you know, we had our third commit where we modified file 1 and 2. Okay. And then I said, let's check out basically head tilde 1. So when I did, when I said check out, git checkout head tilde 1, what that did was it moved the head back to here. It pointed us back to here. So now our head is pointing to our second commit, and so it shows us kind of the files that in this previous state. Okay, so it shows file 1 before we added dog, and it shows file 2 with Betty's name still in there. Okay, and so you know, from here we can then maybe we want to create a branch, okay, where we're going to keep the name Betty or something, and bring that back in, and you know, check out, you know, old versions of the file. Okay. So, you know, here after I checked out head tilde 1, it says you are in a detached head state. You can look around, make experimental changes, and commit them, and you can discard any commits you make in this state without impacting any branches by performing another checkout. If you want to create another branch to retain commits you create, you may do so now or later by using -b with the checkout command again, and do something like this. If I want to go back to the one where I gotta get used to this. Keep this hash. So I got A704F27. I think. Oh, I really hope I don't mess this up. How do I paste? Okay, so it moves our head back to here. Let me check git status. So if I check our log, we're back to this time where I've moved my head. I've checked out back this version of the repository, and I can check out file 1, and it brings back the changes that I've made, and file 2 has Bertha's name. Okay, so by using checkout, you know, I'm switching between kind of past versions and current versions of the repository. Okay, and so at this point, you know, we can kind of continue on and I think make a commit to our thing. So let me check git status, and let me just, what happens if I forget, how do I read? Okay, git add everything, git commit -m, and I'll just say, I don't think there were any changes, but nothing to commit working tree clean. Oh, I'm confusing myself here. So I've checked out the new version. Let me see. What I want to do is I want to get our head reattached to the tip of the thing. So I'm going to just go ahead and add a line 4. And check git status. All right, so we'll add these changes to file 2, and then we'll commit just modified file 2. And I still haven't reattached my head. I apologize. Let me see. Git log is here. Quit. Git status. Head is attached. Head is detached. Oh boy. This is a little embarrassing. All right, so let me see. Git detached head. Fix a detached head. You checked out git checkout master. Oh, is that it's as simple as that? Okay. Oh, okay. Yes. All right. So it says you are leaving one commit behind, not connected to any of your branches. If you want to keep it by creating a new branch, this might be a good time to do this. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, I only created this additional the line 4 just to do it. So let me yeah. I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. Git checkout master. We'll reattach the head back to where the master branch was going. Okay, I'm sorry. So we checked out the old versions of the files, and we can look at them. We're back to our current versions with where we changed the second name to Bertha, and file 1 still has dog here. Okay. And so if I check git status, we're back on branch master, and our head is pointing there right now. And if I check branches, there's only one branch. Okay. I want to kind of show just what happens when if you wanted to start making changes here. Okay. And when you're working on by yourself in your own repository, it might be okay to just keep working on the master branch, okay? But if you have something public, right? Like if you've got a website, you don't want to make changes to your website and like test out changes to your website, and publish them, because you might break the website, you might break your company's page or something like that. So in cases like that, you might have some kind of commit. So, right now we're at commit 3, and you might choose, this is the master branch. This will be master, but you might create some branch, and we can call this like branch A, where you decide to make some changes, all right? And so maybe in branch A, you can make a change, make changes to file 1 and 2. Okay, so this will be like commit 4 or something like that. Okay. Meanwhile, you could also, somebody else could be working on something different. Okay, in branch B, maybe they will they'll make a commit where they add a third file, file 3 or something like that. Okay, and you'll want to merge these back into master, both of these. So you'll have to like make a a 6th commit and maybe a 7th commit or something like that back onto master. And we want these changes to kind of go along here. So let me just kind of show how this might work. Okay, is that when you type in git branch, it just lists off the branches that exist. Right now, there's only one branch, and it's master. I can do git branch, and I'll create a new branch called branch A. All right, and that creates a new branch. And if I type in git branch, we'll have master and branch A listed. All right, and then I can check out branch A. Okay, and so now I have switched to branch A, and at least on the Windows git bash, it tells me that I'm in branch A. Okay, right now branch A is not any different from master, but now what I will do in branch A is I'll go ahead and I'll make changes. I'm going to change ball to box, and I'm going to add egg to our list here. Okay, so I've made changes. I've changed the 2nd line to box, and I've added a 5th line for egg. Okay, and then under file 2, I'll go ahead and I'll change the first name to Amanda, and then I'll add a 4th name, Daisy, or something like that. Okay. So here I can ask for git status under branch A, and it will say I've modified file 1 and file 2, and just like before, we would add these changes. Git add file 1, git add file 2. Okay, and if I check the status, then these changes are ready to be committed, and I'll go ahead and commit them. Okay, files 1 and 2. All right, so those 2 files have been changed, and so on branch A, I've modified file 1, I've modified file 2. I can go back and I can check out master, and if I go back to master, those changes have been undone. Okay, and you can kind of switch between them, and I can go back and check out branch A. And if I open up the file, it's back and it shows box and egg again. Okay, so by checking out these different versions, the master branch and the branch A, we can see kind of the different versions of the file. You can ask Git Diff, what's the difference between master and branch A? Okay, and Git Diff will show you, and it will say under master looks like this, and branch A looks like this, and under master you've got rid of ball and added box, and then it's a little confused, and it says you've added egg. Okay, and then under file 2, it says you got rid of Amy and added Amanda, and then you added a Daisy. Okay, so that's what the differences are there. Okay, so again, if we ask for git branch, we've got it lists off branch A and master. Okay, but we'll go back to master. We'll check out master, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another branch. Okay, this time I'm going to go ahead and just do checkout directly. Checkout -B is kind of a shortcut, because before I did git branch A, and then I checked out branch A. Okay, you can do it in one step by saying git checkout -b, and then you create a new branch. So I'm going to call this branch B. Okay, so this creates a new branch, branch B, and checks it out. Okay, this is a copy of the master branch. So if I look at file 1, it doesn't have egg, it doesn't, and it didn't add the additional lines here. Okay, but under branch B, all right, hang on, you guys. Under branch B, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create an entirely new file, file 3. Okay, and file 3, we'll put in some names here. I'll put in Adam and Bob and I don't know, Clark. Okay, so and then we'll go ahead and we'll add file 3.txt and we'll go ahead and commit them. All right, so if I ask for the difference between branch B and master, it will tell you you've created an entirely new file, okay? Well, the difference between branch B and master is that master is missing this file entirely, okay? And what we want to do now is we want to merge both of these changes back into master. We want to add file 3 into master, and we also want the changes that we made to file 1 and 2 in branch A. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check out the master branch. All right, and then I'll go ahead and I'll do git merge, and it doesn't matter how we do it, but I'll do branch B first. Okay. All right, so I merged branch B, and under master, it's created file 3, right? And then we're still under master, and I can do git merge, and we're going to do branch A, okay? And oh, I forgot to type in a. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Git merge branch A, and it asks me to make a message there, okay? And here it says, all right, we've modified files 1 and files 2, okay? And so now the master branch, okay, we're still in, we've checked out master, and I can ask git branch, okay? We're branch A and branch B. Under the master branch, file 3 exists, and the changes that we made in branch A, where we added egg and where we added Daisy, have been merged into our master branch. Okay, so people can work on different parts of stuff, and then you can merge them back. Now, if one person works on file 1 and another person works on the same file 1 and they do different things, then you'll get a merge conflict. Okay, and it will say, I don't know whose changes I should keep. Okay. And that can induce some headaches and stuff like that, but it's still workable, okay? But if people are working on separate things, it's very easy to merge those changes back together, okay? And your changes don't have to necessarily conflict. All right. So anyway, I do encourage you to just play around a little bit with Git and see what you can do, and until you're kind of comfortable with the idea of all of this stuff. Okay, all right, we'll end here, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.